Good afternoon. This is Tim Coleman Sr., host of It's Kentucky Basketball Recruiting World. And I'm recording this episode because I had my show last night. My show is live Wednesday nights, 9:30 Eastern Time, at least through the month of August. And I had one of my co-hosts talk about a recruitment, Michael Porter Jr. And yes, he has committed to Washington. His dad was hired as an assistant coach out at University of Washington. Um, I'll just say that it's a different relationship between his dad and the head coach Lorenzo Romar than most situations. There have been situations in the past where coaches have hired players' dads to get a kid to commit. Larry Brown at Kansas is one example. Hired Danny Manning's dad, Ed Manning, to coach out there. And another example is actually Memphis with John Calipari when he hired Milt Wagner, and his son DeJuan Wagner came along to Memphis for a year. Now there's other examples I can cite. There's more and a few more. There's one recently where Western Kentucky hired Shammond Williams, who is the godfather of Western Kentucky commit Mitchell Robinson. So there's a few examples of this. What makes this situation different, though, is Michael Porter Sr., after college, he played at New Orleans, was traveling and playing with this Athletes in Action team. And that's where he met his wife, dealing with Athletes in Action. And Lorenzo Romar was a coach / player coach for Athletes in Action at that time. And he actually took in Michael Porter Sr. during that time. Lorenzo Romar and his wife actually took Michael Porter Sr. in during that time. He lived with them for a while. So that's a relationship that's gone back at least 20 years. The Porters have 8 kids. I know that Lorenzo Romar is goddad to Michael Porter Jr., and he is also goddad to Jonte Porter, who was a class of 2018 talent who has committed to Washington. He committed before Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Sr. was an assistant coach at Missouri for the women's team, and of course his daughters are now playing at Missouri. So this is not the dirty recruiting tactics, scrupulous situation that you would normally see. It's a long-term relationship. Michael Porter Sr., he has a degree. He has the credentials. He's coached at another place. And, of course, he played. So, I mean, he has the credentials. It's nothing shady. And the NC2A, the 2A, has a rule now where you can't hire guys like that to be just special assistants, like video coordinator or something like that. They have to be on the staff. So that means they have to have the credentials to coach, to be able to be on the staff, and to have that happen. So in the Porter's case, this is not one of these unscrupulous situations. He had been trying to hire Michael Porter Sr. the last 2 years. He had turned it down, but I guess this time he actually took the job. So that's where that comes from. It's a long-term relationship. I never seen anything wrong with it. He hired his one of his best friends. I mean, when he's a godson to your kids, I mean that's a real close relationship. So it's a totally different thing. And I said I would make this video for my co-host on the show, Benjamin Patrick, to explain to him and maybe anybody else that was listening to the show how that situation is. It may play into the recruitment of Trey Porter. We're recruiting Trey Porter. I said Porter, I'm sorry. Mistake, scratch that. Trey Young. We're recruiting Trey Young out of Norman, Oklahoma. And he released his final 6 yesterday. And Kentucky's on the list, but so is Washington. So we'll see what happens with the recruitment. I just wanted to record this to tell anybody that was listening last night, and let my co-host know that it was a special relationship. There's nothing dirty about it, nothing unscrupulous about it. I just didn't have time last night to explain that situation. So there you have it. Anybody have any other questions about the video? I'm gonna put it on Facebook. I'm gonna try to put it on its Kentucky Basketball Recruiting World page. You can ask questions about this if you want. I'll answer them. And I think that's all I really wanted to talk about here. But tune into my show next week, next Wednesday night, 9:30 Eastern Time. It's Kentucky Basketball Recruiting World. It's through blogtalkradio.com. You can just type in blogtalkradio.com, type in keyword Kentucky Basketball, and it should come up. Or if it doesn't come up that way, you can type in keyword It's Kentucky Basketball Recruiting World, and it will certainly come up. So check that out. Check out the little articles I write for A Sea of Blue. Doing once a week. Might try to do some twice a week, but right now it's once a week. And just check it out, and make some comments. See what you think about what I wrote. That's it. As I always say on my show, God bless. Peace to the creatures. Big Blue Nation. Peace.